Scorpions are predatory arachnids of the order Scorpiones. They have 8 legs and are easily recognized by a pair of grasping pincers and a narrow, segmented tail, often carried in a characteristic forward curve over the back and always ending with a stinger. The evolutionary history of scorpions goes back for 135 million years. They mainly live in deserts, but have adapted to a wide range of environmental conditions and can be found on all continents except Antarctica. There are over 2,500 described species, with 22 extant living families recognized to date. Their taxonomy is being revised to account for 21st century genomic studies. Scorpions primarily prey on insects and other invertebrates, but some species hunt vertebrates. They use their pincers to restrain and kill prey, or to prevent their own predation. The venomous sting is used for offense and defense. During courtship, the male and female grasp each other's pincers and dance while he tries to move her onto his sperm packet. All known species give live birth and the female cares for the young as their exoskeletons harden, transporting them on her back. The exoskeleton contains fluorescent chemicals and glows under ultraviolet light. The vast majority of species do not seriously threaten humans, and healthy adults usually do not need medical treatment after a sting. About 25 species fewer than 1% have venom capable of killing a human, which happens frequently in the parts of the world where they live, primarily where access to medical treatment is unlikely. Scorpions appear in art, folklore, mythology, and commercial brands. Scorpion motifs are woven into kilim carpets for protection from their sting. Scorpius is the name of a constellation. The corresponding astrological sign is Scorpio. A classical myth about Scorpius tells how the giant scorpion and its enemy Orion became constellations on opposite sides of the sky. Etymology: the word scorpion originated in Middle English between 1175 and 1225 AD from Old French scorpion, or from Italian scorpione, both derived from the Latin Scorpio, equivalent to Scorpius, to which is the romanization of the Greekskorpíos Scorpios, 3 with no native etymology cfr. Arabic Ɂaqrab scorpion, Proto-Germanic. Fossil of Palaeothamus nuncius, a Silurian scorpion from Sweden. Scorpion fossils have been found in many strata, including marine Silurian and estuarine Devonian deposits, coal deposits from the Carboniferous period, and in amber. Whether the early scorpions were marine or terrestrial has been debated, and while they had book lungs like modern terrestrial species. For 5, 6, 7 the most basal such as Scorpios were originally considered as still aquatic, 8 although later study found that Scorpios also had book lungs, 9. Over 100 fossil species of scorpion have been described. 10 The oldest found as of 2021 is Dolichophonus loudinensis, which lived during the Silurian, in present-day Scotland. 11. Gondwana scorpio from the Devonian is among the earliest known terrestrial animals on the Gondwana supercontinent. 12. Some Paleozoic scorpions possessed compound eyes similar to those of Eurypterids. 13. The Triassic fossils Protocactus and Protobuthus belong to the modern clades Chactoidea and Butoidea respectively, indicating that the crown group of modern scorpions had emerged by this time. Phylogeny. The scorpiones are a clade within the pulmonate arachnida, those with book lungs. Arachnida is placed within the Chelicerata, a subphylum of Arthropoda that contains sea spiders and horseshoe crabs, alongside terrestrial animals without book lungs, such as ticks and harvestmen. 4. The extinct Eurypterida, sometimes called sea scorpions, though they were not all marine, are not scorpions. Their grasping pincers were chelicerae, not homologous with the pincer second appendages of scorpions. 15 Scorpiones is sister to the Tetrapulmonata, a terrestrial group of pulmonates containing the spiders and whip scorpions. This 2019 cladogram summarizes: Chelicerata Pycnogonida sea spiders, Schiphysura horseshoe crabs, Eurypterida sea scorpions, Arachnida non-pulmonates, ticks, harvestmen, etc. pulmonates scorpiones, Tetrapulmonata araneus spiders, Pedipalpi whip scorpions, etc. Recent studies place pseudoscorpions as the sister group of scorpions in the clade Panscorpiones, which together with Tetrapulmonata makes up the clade Arachnopulmonata. The internal phylogeny of the scorpions has been debated, but genomic analysis consistently places the Bothriuridae as sister to a clade consisting of Scorpionoida and Cactoidea. The scorpions diversified between the Devonian and the early Carboniferous. The main division is into the clades Buthida and Eureter. The Bothriuridae diverged starting before temperate Gondwana broke up into separate land masses, completed by the Jurassic. The Eureidea and Cactoidea are both seen not to be single clades, and are shown as paraphyletic with quotation marks in this 2018 cladogram. Scorpiones Buthida, Charaloideae, Pseudocactoider. Butoidea, Eureta, Bothriuroideae. Cactoidea, Euroidea, Cactoidea, Scorpionoider. Taxonomy, main article, Taxonomy of scorpions. Carl Linnaeus described 6 species of scorpion in his genus Scorpio in 1758 and 1767. 3 of these are now considered valid and are called Scorpio morus, Androctonus australis, and Euscorpius carpithecus. The other 3 are dubious names. He placed the scorpions among his Insecta wingless insects, a group that included Crustacea, Arachnida, and Myriapoda. In 1801, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck divided up the Insecta, creating the taxon arachnids for spiders, scorpions, and acramites and ticks, though it also contained the Tisonura, Myriapoda, and parasites such as lice. 19 German arachnologist Carl Ludwig co-created the order Scorpiones in 1837. He divided it into 4 families: the 6-eyed scorpions Scorpionides, the 8-eyed scorpions Buthides, the 10-eyed scorpions Centurides, and the 12-eyed scorpions Androctonides. More recently, some 22 families containing over 2,500 species of scorpions have been described, with many additions and much reorganization of taxa in the 21st century. There are over 100 described taxa of fossil scorpions. 10. This classification is based on Solglad and FET 2003, which replaced Stockwell's older, unpublished classification. 24. Further taxonomic changes are from papers by Solglad et al. 2005. The extant taxa to the rank of family numbers of species in parentheses. Order Scorpiones, Centruroids vittatus, the striped bark scorpion, a member of Buthidae, the largest family of scorpions. Heterometris laudicus, the Vietnam forest scorpion, a member of the family Scorpionidae. Parvater Pseudocactida Solglad and FET 2003. Superfamily Pseudocactoida Gromov, 1998. Family Pseudocactidae Gromov, 1998 1sp. Central Asian scorpions of semi-savanna habitats. Parvater Bifida Solglad and FET 2003. Superfamily Butoideaceae alcoque, 1837. Family Buthidaceae alcoque, 1837 1209 sp. Thick-tailed scorpions, including the most dangerous species. Family Microcharmidae Laurenco, 1996 2019 17 spp. African scorpions of humid forest leaf litter. Parvater Cheirolida Solglad and FET 2003. Superfamily Cheiroloidea Pockic, 1893. Family Cheirilidae Pockic, 1893 51 spp. South and Southeast Asian scorpions of non-arid places. Parvater Eureta Solglad and FET 2003. Superfamily Cactoidea Pockic, 1893. Family Acrovidae Levi, 2007 1sp. Cave-dwelling scorpions of Israel. Family Belisaridae Laurenco, 1998 3 spp. Cave-related scorpions of Southern Europe. Family Chactidae Pockic, 1893 209 spp. New World Scorpions, membership under revision. Family Euscorpidae Lurie, 1896 170 spp. Harmless scorpions of the Americas, Eurasia, and North Africa. Family Superstitionide Stink, 1941 sp. Cave scorpions of Mexico and southwestern United States. Family Troglodyococide Laurenco, 1998 for SPP. Cave-related scorpions of South America. Family Typhochactidae Mitchell, 1971 11 SPP. Cave-related scorpions of eastern Mexico. Family Vajovidae Thorol, 1876 222 SP. New World Scorpions, Superfamily Euridea Thorol, 1876. Family Caraboctonidae Crepulin, 1905 23 SPP. Hairy Scorpions. Family Hadroridae Stank, 1970 for 9 SPP. Large North American Scorpions. Family Euridae Thorol, 1876 21 SPP. Scorpions with a large tooth on inner side of movable claw. Superfamily Scorpionoida latrial, 1802. Family Bothrieridae Simon, 1880 158 SP. Southern Hemisphere tropical and temperate scorpions. Family Hemiscorpidae Pockok, 1893 16 SPP. Rock, creeping or tree scorpions of the Middle East. Family Hormuridae Lurie, 1896 92 SPP. Flattened, crevice-living scorpions of Southeast Asia and Australia. Family Rugodentidae Bastawade et al., 2005 1 SP. Burrowing scorpions of India. Family Scorpionidae latrial, 1800 to 183 SPP. Burrowing or pale-legged scorpions. Family Diplocentridae Karsh, 1880 130 for SPP. Closely related to and sometimes placed in Scorpionidae, but have spine on telson. Family Heteroscorpionae Crepulin, 19056 SPP. Scorpions of Madagascar. Scorpions are found on all continents except Antarctica. The diversity of scorpions is greatest in subtropical areas. It decreases toward the poles and equator, though scorpions are found in the tropics. Scorpions did not occur naturally in Great Britain, but were accidentally introduced by humans, and have now established a population. New Zealand and some of the islands in Oceania have in the past had small populations of introduced scorpions, but they were exterminated. 5 colonies of Euscorpius flavicatus have established themselves since the late 19th century in Sheerness in England at 5 while Pararoctinus boreas lives as far north as Red Deer, Alberta, at 52 A few species are on the IUCN and Red List. Afrolichus broweri is classed as critically endangered 2012, Isometris de Harvengi as endangered 2016, and Chiromachus ocropus as vulnerable 2014. Scorpions are xericoles, meaning they primarily live in deserts, but they can be found in virtually every terrestrial habitat including high-elevation mountains, caves, and intertidal zones. They are largely absent from boreal ecosystems such as the tundra, high-altitude taiga, and mountain tops. The highest altitude reached by a scorpion is 5,500 meters, 18,000 feet in the Andes, for Orobothrius crassomanus. As regards microhabitats, scorpions may be ground-dwelling, tree-loving, rock-loving, or sand-loving. Some species, such as Vijovis jansi, are versatile and are found in all habitats on Socorro Island, Baja California, while others, such as Euscorpius carpathicus, endemic to the littoral zone of rivers in Romania, occupy specialized niches. Morphology: Scorpion anatomy. Dorsal view of Cheloctonus jonesi. 1 equals cephalothorax or prosoma. 2 equals preabdomen or mesosoma. 3 equals tail or metasoma. 4 equals claws or pedipalps. 5 equals legs. 6 equals mouthparts or chelicerae. 7 equals pincers or chellae. 8 equals movable claw or tarsus. 9 equals fixed claw or manus. 10 equals stinger or aculeus. 11 equals telson anus in previous joint. 12 equals opening of book lungs. Scorpions range in size from the 8.5 mm 0.33 in Typhlochactus machelli of Typhlochactidae, 39 to the 23 cm 9.1 in Heterometris swammerdami of Scorpionidae. The body of a scorpion is divided into 2 parts or tagmata, the cephalothorax or prosoma, and the abdomen or opistosoma. A. The opistosoma is subdivided into a broad anterior portion, the mesosoma or preabdomen, and a narrow tail-like posterior, the metasoma or postabdomen. External differences between the sexes are not obvious in most species. In some, the metasoma is more elongated in males than females. Cephalothorax. The cephalothorax comprises the carapace, eyes, chelicerae mouth parts, pedipalps, which have chellae, commonly called claws or pincers, and for pairs of walking legs. Scorpions have 2 eyes on the top of the cephalothorax, and usually 2 to 5 pairs of eyes along the front corners of the cephalothorax. While unable to form sharp images, their central eyes are amongst the most light-sensitive in the animal kingdom, especially in dim light, which makes it possible for nocturnal species to use starlight to navigate at night. The chelicerae are at the front and underneath the carapace. They are pincer-like and have 3 segments and sharp teeth. The brain of a scorpion is in the back of the cephalothorax, just above the esophagus. 48. As in other arachnids, the nervous system is highly concentrated in the cephalothorax, but has a long ventral nerve cord with segmented ganglia, which may be a primitive trait. The pedipalp is a segmented, clawed appendage used for prey immobilization, defense, and sensory purposes. The segments of the pedipalp from closest to the body outward are coxa, trochanter, femur, patellar, tibia including the fixed claw, and the manus and tarsus movable claw. A scorpion has darkened or granular raised linear ridges, called keels or carinae on the pedipalp segments and on other parts of the body. These are useful as taxonomic characters. Unlike those of some other arachnids, the legs have not been modified for other purposes, though they may occasionally be used for digging, and females may use them to catch emerging young. The legs are covered in proprioceptors, bristles, and sensory setter. Depending on the species, the legs may have spines and spurs. Mesosoma, ventral view. The pectins have a comb-like structure in inverted V shape. The mesosoma or preabdomen is the broad part of the opistosoma. In the early stages of embryonic development, the mesosoma consists of 8 segments, but the first segment disappears before birth. So the mesosoma in scorpions actually consist of segments 2 to 8. These anterior 7 somite segments of the opistosoma are each covered dorsally by a sclerotized plate called the turgid. Ventrally, somites 3 to 7 are armored with matching plates called sternites. The ventral side of somite 1 has a pair of genital opercula covering the gonopore. Sternite forms the basal plate bearing the pectins, 56, which function as sensory organs. The next for somites, 3 to 6, all bear pairs of spiracles. They serve as openings for the scorpion's respiratory organs, known as book lungs. The spiracle openings may be slits, circular, elliptical, or oval according to the species. There are thus 4 pairs of book lungs. Each consists of some 140 to 150 thin lamellae filled with air inside a pulmonary chamber, connected on the ventral side to an atrial chamber which opens into a spiracle. Bristles hold the lamellae apart. A muscle opens the spiracle and widens the atrial chamber. Dorsoventral muscles contract to compress the pulmonary chamber, forcing air out, and relax to allow the chamber to refill. The 7th and last somite does not bear appendages or any other significant external structures. The mesosoma contains the heart or dorsal vessel, which is the center of the scorpion's open circulatory system. The heart is continuous with a deep arterial system which spreads throughout the body. Sinuses return deoxygenated blood hemolymph to the heart. The blood is reoxygenated by cardiac pores. The mesosoma also contains the reproductive system. The female gonads are made of 3 or 4 tubes that run parallel to each other and are connected by 2 for transverse anastomoses. These tubes are the sites for both oocyte formation and embryonic development. They connect to oviducts, which connect to a single atrium leading to the genital orifice. 61. Males have 2 gonads made of 2 cylindrical tubes with a ladder-like configuration. They contain cysts, which produce spermatozoa. Both tubes end in a spermatoduct, one on each side of the mesosoma. They connect to glandular symmetrical structures called paraxial organs, which end at the genital orifice. These secrete chitin-based structures which come together to form the spermatophore. Metasoma, stinger of an Arizona bark scorpion. The tail or metasoma consists of 5 segments and the telson, which is not strictly a segment. The 5 segments are merely body rings. They lack apparent sterna or terga and become larger distally. These segments have keels, seta, and bristles, which may be used for taxonomic classification. The anus is at the distal and ventral end of the last segment and is encircled by 4 anal papillae and the anal arch. 58. The tails of some species contain light receptors. The telson includes the vesicle, which contains a symmetrical pair of venom glands. Externally, it bears the curved stinger, the hypodermic aculeus, equipped with sensory hairs. Each of the venom glands has its own duct to convey its secretion along the aculeus from the bulb of the gland to immediately near of the tip, where each of the paired ducts has its own venom pore. 60 for an extrinsic muscle system, and the tail moves it forward and propels and penetrates with the aculeus, while an intrinsic muscle system attached to the glands pumps venom through the stinger into the intended victim. The stinger contains metalloproteins with zinc, hardening the tip. The optimal stinging angle is around 30 degrees relative to the tip. Most scorpion species are nocturnal or crepuscular, finding shelter during the day in burrows, cracks in rocks, and tree bark. 68. Many species dig a shelter underneath stones a few centimeters long. Some may use burrows made by other animals including spiders, reptiles, and small mammals. Other species dig their own burrows, which vary in complexity and depth. Hadrura species dig burrows as over 2 meters 6 feet 7 in deep. Digging is done using the mouth parts, claws, and legs. In several species, particularly of the family Buthidae, individuals may gather in the same shelter. Bark scorpions may aggregate up to 30 individuals. In some species, families of females and young sometimes aggregate. Scorpions prefer areas where the temperature remains in the range of 11-40 degrees Celsius 50 to -100 degrees Fahrenheit, but may survive temperatures from well below freezing to desert heat. Scorpions can withstand intense heat. Laurus quinquestriatus. Scorpiomorus and Hadrurus arizonensis can live in temperatures of 45-50 degrees Celsius, 113-120 degrees Fahrenheit, if they are sufficiently hydrated. Desert species must deal with the extreme changes in temperature from day to night or between seasons. Pectinabuthus biruli lives in a temperature range of 30-50 degrees Celsius, 20 to -120 degrees Fahrenheit. Scorpions that live outside deserts prefer lower temperatures. The ability to resist cold may be related to the increase in the sugar trehalose when the temperature drops. Some species hibernate. Scorpions appear to have resistance to ionizing radiation. This was discovered in the early 1960s when scorpions were found to be among the few animals to survive nuclear tests at Regan, Algeria. Desert scorpions have several adaptations for water conservation. They excrete insoluble compounds such as xanthine, guanine, and uric acid, not requiring water for their removal from the body. Guanine is the main component and maximizes the amount of nitrogen excreted. A scorpion's cuticle holds in moisture via lipids and waxes from epidermal glands and protects against ultraviolet radiation. Even when dehydrated, a scorpion can tolerate high osmotic pressure in its blood. Desert scorpions get most of their moisture from the food they eat, but some can absorb water from the humid soil. Species that live in denser vegetation and in more moderate temperatures will drink water on plants and in puddles. Some species make direct, quick strikes with their tails, while others make slower, more circular strikes, which can more easily return the stinger to a position where it can strike again. Laurus quinquestriatus can whip its tail at a speed of up to 128 centimeters per second, 50 inches per second in a defensive strike. Mortality and defense. Scorpions may be attacked by other arthropods like ants, spiders, solifugaes, and centipedes. Major predators include frogs, lizards, snakes, birds, and mammals. Meerkats are somewhat specialized in preying on scorpions, biting off their stingers and being immune to their venom. Other predators adapted for hunting scorpions include the grasshopper mouse and desert long-eared bat. which are also immune to their venom. 8081. In one study, 70% of the latter's droppings contain scorpion fragments. 81 scorpions host parasites including mites, scuttleflies, nematodes, and some bacteria. The immune system of scorpions gives them resistance to infection by many types of bacteria. When threatened, a scorpion raises its claws and tail in a defensive posture. Some species stridulate to warn off predators by rubbing certain hairs, the stinger or the claws. The parts do not grow back, leaving them unable to sting and defecate, but they can still catch small prey and reproduce for at least 8 months afterward. Diet and feeding. Scorpion feeding on a Solifugae. Scorpions generally prey on insects, particularly grasshoppers, crickets, termites, beetles, and wasps. Other prey include spiders, Solifugaes, woodlice, and even small vertebrates including lizards, snakes, and mammals. Species with large claws may prey on earthworms and mollusks. The majority of species are opportunistic and consume a variety of prey, though some may be highly specialized. Isomedroids Vescus specializes on burrowing spiders. Prey size depends on the size of the species. Several scorpion species are sit-and-wait predators, which involves them waiting for prey at or near the entrance to their burrow. Others actively seek them out. Scorpions detect their prey with mechanoreceptive and chemoreceptive hairs on their bodies and capture them with their claws. Small animals are merely killed with the claws, particularly by large-clawed species. Larger and more aggressive prey is given a sting. Scorpions, like other arachnids, digest their food externally. The chelicerae, which are very sharp, are used to pull small amounts of food off the prey item into a preoral cavity below the chelicerae and carapace. The digestive juices from the gut are egested onto the food, and the digested food is then sucked into the gut in liquid form. The sucked-in food is pumped into the midgut by the pharynx, where it is further digested. Scorpions can consume large amounts of food during one meal. They have an efficient food storage organ and a very low metabolic rate, and a relatively inactive lifestyle. This enables some to survive 6 to 12 months of starvation. Most scorpions reproduce sexually, with male and female individuals. Species in some genera, such as Hodentoda and Tituus, and the species Centruroides gracilis, Leocheles australasia, and Ananterus koinoi have been reported, not necessarily reliably, to reproduce through parthenogenesis, in which unfertilized eggs develop into living embryos. 89 receptive females produce pheromones, which are picked up by wandering males using their pectins to comb the substrate. Males begin courtship by moving their bodies back and forth, without moving the legs, a behavior known as juddering. This appears to produce ground vibrations that are picked up by the female. The pair then make contact using their pedipalps and perform a dance called the promenade deux French for a walk for two. In this dance, the male and female move back and forth while facing each other, as the male searches for a suitable place to deposit his spermatophore. The courtship ritual can involve several other behaviors, such as a cheliceral kiss, in which the male and female grasp each other's mouthparts. Abradroid upright tree, where the partners elevate their posteriors and rub their tails together, and sexual stinging, in which the male stings the female in the chelae or mesosoma to subdue her. The dance can last from a few minutes to several hours. When the male has located a suitably stable substrate, such as hard ground, agglomerated sand, rock, or tree bark, he deposits the spermatophore and guides the female over it. A mating plug then forms in the female to prevent her from mating again before the young are born. The male and female then abruptly separate. Birth and development. Compsognathus Werneri female with young. Gestation in scorpions can last for over a year in some species, 95. They have two types of embryonic development, apoicogenic and catoicogenic. In the apoicogenic system, which is mainly found in the Buthidae, embryos develop in yolk-rich eggs inside follicles. The catoicogenic system is documented in Hemiscorpidae, Scorpionidae, and Diplocentridae, and involves the embryos developing in a diverticulum, which has a teat-like structure for them to feed through. 96. Unlike the majority of arachnids, which are oviparous, hatching from eggs, scorpions seem to be universally viviparous, with live births. 97. They are unusual among terrestrial arthropods in the amount of care a female gives to her offspring. 98. The size of a brood varies by species, from 3 to over 100. 99. The body size of scorpions is not correlated either with brood size or with life cycle length. Before giving birth, the female elevates the front of her body and positions her pedipalps and front legs under her to catch the young birth basket. The young emerge one by one from the genital opercula, expel the embryonic membrane, if any, and are placed on the mother's back, where they remain until they have gone through at least one molt. The period before the first molt is called the pro-juvenile stage. The young are unable to feed or sting, but have suckers on their tarsi, used to hold onto their mother. This period lasts 5 to 25 days, depending on the species. The brood molt for the first time simultaneously in a process that lasts 6 to 8 hours, marking the beginning of the juvenile stage. Juvenile stages or instars generally resemble smaller versions of adults, with fully developed pincers, hairs, and stingers. They are still soft and lack pigments, and thus continue to ride on their mother's back for protection. They become harder and more pigmented over the next couple of days. They may leave their mother temporarily, returning when they sense potential danger. Once the exoskeleton is fully hardened, the young can hunt prey on their own and may soon leave their mother. A scorpion may molt 6 times on average before reaching maturity, which may not occur until it is 6 to 83 months old, depending on the species. Some species may live up to 25 years. Fluorescence. This black emperor scorpion Pandinus imperate or fluoresces light blue. The mother glows bright teal, the young a dull gray. Scorpions glow a vibrant blue-green when exposed to certain wavelengths of ultraviolet light, such as that produced by a black light, due to fluorescent chemicals such as beta-carboline in the cuticle. Accordingly, a handheld ultraviolet lamp has long been a standard tool for nocturnal field surveys of these animals. Fluorescence occurs as a result of sclerotization and increases in intensity with each successive instar. 100 to this fluorescence may have an active role in the scorpion's ability to detect light. Relationship with humans, further information, human uses of scorpions. Stings, main article, Scorpionism, Arizona bark scorpion, one of the few species whose venom is deadly to humans. Scorpion venom serves to kill or paralyze prey rapidly. The stings of many species are uncomfortable, but only 25 species have venom that is deadly to humans. Those species belong to the family Buthidae, including Laeurus quinquestriatus, Hodontoda spp, Centauroides spp, and Androctonus spp. People with allergies are especially at risk. 104. Otherwise, first aid is symptomatic, with analgesia. Cases of very high blood pressure are treated with medications that relieve anxiety and relax the blood vessels. 105-106 Scorpion envenomation with high morbidity and mortality is usually due to either excessive autonomic activity and cardiovascular toxic effects or neuromuscular toxic effects. Although rare, severe hypersensitivity reactions, including anaphylaxis to scorpion antivenin, are possible. Scorpion stings are a public health problem, particularly in the tropical and subtropical regions of the Americas, North Africa, the Middle East, and India. Around 1.5 million scorpion envenomations occur each year, with around 2,600 deaths. Mexico is one of the most affected countries, with the highest biodiversity of scorpions in the world, some 200,000 envenomations per year, at least 300 deaths. Efforts are made to prevent envenomation and to control scorpion populations. Prevention encompasses personal activities such as checking shoes and clothes before putting them on, not walking in bare feet or sandals, and filling in holes and cracks where scorpions might nest. Street lighting reduces scorpion activity. Control may involve the use of insecticides such as pyrethroids, or gathering scorpions manually with the help of ultraviolet lights. Domestic predators of scorpions, such as chickens and turkeys, can help to reduce the risk to a household. Potential medical use. The deathstalker's powerful venom contains the 36 amino acid peptide chlorotoxin ribbon diagram shown. This blocks small conductance chloride channels, immobilizing its prey. Scorpion venom is a mixture of neurotoxins. Most of these are peptides, chains of amino acids. Many of them interfere with membrane channels that transport sodium, potassium, calcium, or chloride ions. These channels are essential for nerve conduction, muscle contraction, and many other biological processes. Some of these molecules may be useful in medical research and might lead to the development of new disease treatments. Consumption: scorpions are eaten by people in West Africa, Myanmar, and East Asia. Fried scorpion is traditionally eaten in Shandong, China. Their scorpions can be cooked and eaten in a variety of ways, including roasting, frying, grilling, raw, or alive. The stingers are typically not removed, since direct and sustained heat negates the harmful effects of the venom. In Thailand, scorpions are not eaten as often as other arthropods, such as grasshoppers, but they are sometimes fried as street food. They are used in Vietnam to make snake wine scorpion wine. Pets scorpions are often kept as pets. They are relatively simple to keep, the main requirements being a secure enclosure such as a glass terrarium with a lockable lid and the appropriate temperature and humidity for the chosen species, which typically means installing a heating mat and spraying regularly with a little water. The substrate needs to resemble that of the species' natural environment, such as peat for forest species or lateritic sand for burrowing desert species. Scorpions in the genera Pandinus and Heterometris are docile enough to handle. A large Pandinus may consume up to 3 crickets each week. The pet trade has threatened wild populations of some scorpion species, particularly Androctonus australis and Pandinus imperator. The scorpion is a culturally significant animal, appearing as a motif in art, especially in Islamic art in the Middle East. A scorpion motif is often woven into Turkish kilim flatweave carpets for protection from their sting. The scorpion is perceived both as an embodiment of evil and as a protective force, such as a dervish's powers to combat evil. In Muslim folklore, the scorpion portrays human sexuality. Scorpions are used in folk medicine in South Asia, especially in antidotes for scorpion stings. One of the earliest occurrences of the scorpion in culture, its inclusion as Scorpio in the 12 signs of the zodiac by Babylonian astronomers during the Chaldean period. This was then taken up by Western astrology. In astronomy, the corresponding constellation is named Scorpius. In ancient Egypt, the goddess Serket, who protected the pharaoh, was often depicted as a scorpion. In ancient Greece, a warrior's shield sometimes carried a scorpion device, as seen in red figure pottery from the 5th century BC. Orion and the scorpion both became constellations. As enemies, they were placed on opposite sides of the world, so when one rises in the sky, the other sets. Scorpions are mentioned in the Bible and the Talmud as symbols of danger and maliciousness. The fable of the scorpion and the frog has been interpreted as showing that vicious people cannot resist hurting others, even when it is not in their interests. More recently, the action in John Steinbeck's 1947 novella The Pearl centers on a poor pearl fisherman's attempts to save his infant son from a scorpion sting, only to lose him to human violence. Scorpions have equally appeared in Western art forms, including film and poetry. The surrealist filmmaker Louis Buñuel made symbolic use of scorpions in his 1930 classic L'Age d'Or, The Golden Age, while Stevia Smith's last collection of poems was entitled Scorpion and Other Poems. A variety of martial arts films and video games have been entitled Scorpion King. Scorpion pose in yoga has one or both legs pointing forward over the head, like a scorpion's tail. Since classical times, the scorpion with its powerful stinger has been used to provide a name for weapons. In the Roman army, the Scorpio was a torsion siege engine used to shoot a projectile. The British Army's FV-101 Scorpion was an armored reconnaissance vehicle or light tank in service from 1972 to 1994. A version of the Matilda to tank, fitted with a flail to clear mines, was named the Matilda Scorpion. Several ships of the Royal Navy and of the U.S. Navy have been named Scorpion, including an 18-gun sloop in 1803, a turret ship in 1863, a patrol yacht in 1898, a destroyer in 1910, and a nuclear submarine in 1960. The Scorpion has served as the name or symbol of products and brands including Italy's Abarth racing cars and a Montesa Scrambler motorcycle. A hand or forearm balancing asana in modern yoga as exercise with the back arched and one or both legs pointing forward over the head in the manner of the scorpion's tail is called scorpion pose.